what got this country into the 2008 financial crisis. And the idea that government has a space should not be involved in the stock market and in the financial issues of this country is very interesting, because that same ideology of the Reagan Party got us into the two worst economic crises in our country.
May I respond?
I'm sorry, but we really have to go ahead here.
Mr. This is dire importance. This is of dire importance.
We really have to go. I'm sorry. Okay. So we have put a man on the moon in the past. We've launched the Peace Corps. Periodically, the president has inspired America to think about new frontiers. What's America's new frontier now? Do we have one? Mr. President?
I believe that in the current economic standpoint, America's time for finding new frontiers has, for the time being, passed. We need to look at where we are in this country currently. And I do support space exploration, but I have put that on the back burner because of the economic crisis. I believe that government programs is much more important than finding and having a space station on the moon. And Mr. Romney agrees with me, and I think that's important. We need to help get the poor, we need to help give them food, we need to help get people jobs. And that's my priority, not looking for new frontiers in the long abyss of space.
Governor Romney?
Is it my turn now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as I said, and I agree with Mr. Obama, we must keep going into space. But Mr. Obama states that he wants to explore space, but he cut the NASA budget. And never in any of his statements has he ever said that I explore space exploration, but I want to cut it for now, but maybe later we can do it. He never said that. How do we know he's telling the truth? We need to keep going into space. Once we get the innovation and that kind of stuff, to keep on going. We need to encourage Americans to keep on going when it comes to their education, when it comes to their jobs, when it comes to their employment, when it comes to the cash that they have, the take-home pay that is so desperate for the middle class and the middle-income Americans. That is what we have to do. Our newest frontier is space. But like Mr. Obama and I for once are agreeing on something. It's the economy, stupid. That's what we have to fix right now. And later on, maybe later in my administration, if I'm elected, we will press into space. And I will guarantee, I am looking into the eyes of NASA astronauts right now, I will not cut your budget. Period. And you will be on the moon in a Romney administration. And you may even be on Mars.
Thank you. So now the last question, and we'll start with Governor Romney. What do you think America's place in the Middle East is? And there's no rebuttal.
Okay. Well, look, I think America has to be a place where freedom can prosper. All right? That's a place where we can show the world that freedom is the way. Let's talk about Mr. Obama's record. You have made no progress on our relationship with Iran. You have weakened our relationship with Pakistan. We need to build our relationship with Pakistan, so that way the nuclear weapons that Pakistan possesses do not fall into the hands of terrorists. Pakistan is a very corrupt government, and I, for one, am frightened that they will fall into the hands of terrorism, those nuclear weapons. You have leaked sensitive information regarding counter-terror operations that the intelligence community deems as devastating. Finally, Mr. Obama, let's talk about Benghazi. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. We had 2 destroyers sitting off the coast of Libya. We had 3 quick reaction forces hours away. One of them, by the way, was Delta Force, which is regarded by experts to be the top military hostage rescue team on the planet. We had them waiting at Sigonella Air Force Base. They could have been in Benghazi in a couple of hours. 2 U.S. drones were in the sky. You sent your UN base in the sky in Benghazi. May I keep going? This is very important.
Can you finish it in one sentence?
Okay. Wow, there's so much here to cover.
Oh,
You sent your UN ambassador on a talk show host, 5 talk show hosts, as a matter of fact, saying that it was about a video. You imprisoned the filmmaker. By the way, his hearing is conveniently scheduled to be after the election. You apologized to the UN for the video. So you can't say that you never thought it was because of the video that this was. There was 48 hours. You had 48 hours. You knew 48 hours in advance that there was going to be a terrorist attack. That was the State Department.
Hillary there. Mr. President.
Let me make one point clear. We did not know that Benghazi was happening. It was a complete shock to us. And when something like that happens so far away from our nation, and when something like that is so tragic, it takes time to fully understand what the reason was. At first, we thought it was a video, and now we have come to realize that it was a terrorist attack, and we accept that. And I think that what my administration did and what I did is not flawed in any single way. Things like that take time to understand. That's what we did. As far as Iran goes, I have instituted some of the greatest sanctions on that country in the history of the entire country. And if you try to disagree with me, you are wrong and you are ignorant, because it is on my record and it is there. So let me keep that clear. As far as the Middle East goes, I have supported democracy. I supported Arab Spring. I supported the Libyan revolution. And I supported the Egyptian revolution. And I have, in the hope, tried to bring democracy into that country.
But what about the Iranians?
Okay, thank you.
We'll have to end it there, I'm sorry.
And now we must move on to closing arguments. You will each have 1 minute. President Obama, you are first.
Like I have previously said, we are in the 21st century. And if you want the foreign policy of the 80s, the social policy of the 50s, and the economic policy of the 20s, vote for this man to my right. If you want to move forward, vote for the Democratic Party and for me. If you want to have fewer women's rights, and if you want to have fewer civil rights in this country because of him, vote for him. He wants to cut women's health care. And he does not agree that insurance for women should be equal price as men simply because they are women. He supports that idea, and I think that that is completely flawed. Mr. Romney is very interesting, like I have said about 6 times, because he is a medical ideology. He adds a new term to the medical dictionary called Romnesia. And let me tell you something. I think they need to create a department in all the hospitals in this country to help support his forgetfulness.
Mr. Obama, what would the media do to you?
Okay, Governor Romney.
Governor Romney.
Your closing statement.
Well, since Mr. Obama conveniently placed his most devastating attacks on me in an area where I can't rebut, I guess I'll just have to go to the actual speech that I prepared. I was in the business for almost 30 years of creating jobs and bringing them back to America. That's what a venture capitalist firm does. Like I said, Dunkin' Donuts, who doesn't love that?
Obesity does not love that.
What about Sports Authority? Or Dick's Sporting Goods, or Staples? I know you guys are all students. You all shop at Staples probably, or some of you did. You can thank me for every time we go into Staples, because that was a business in Massachusetts that I helped to save. You and I
Paperclips are Republican.
Excuse
people.
me, Mr.
Remember
Obama,
that.
I am speaking.
Governor Romney.
Manners, I suppose.
You and I are at a crossroads of history. There are 2 choices we can choose. We may choose the first road, a road where no man nor nation has successfully ventured before. We can choose a road of poverty and despair, and venture dubiously into 1,000 nights of darkness and debt. Or we may choose the other road, the road provided by me, the road paved by our forefathers, the road of glory, the road that makes American men stand for American values, the road paved gold by the pages of history. I have made my choice. Now it is up to you to choose yours. Thank you. God bless you. And God